Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Kimbaskrafts. My name is Kim, and if you're new here, welcome. If you are returning from a previous video, as always, welcome back. I appreciate your continued support of my channel, even though I am very loosely here. And I am feeling a lot of relief from my current stresses, so we'll go over that during this. We are doing a whip and chat. So I haven't done one in a very long time. This is where I will talk to you while I actually diamond paint, and I will update you on my life and tell you some stories or what's going on, yada, 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 all the things. So it's called a whip and chat because I'm going to work on one of my current projects. So WIP, work in progress. This is one of my works in progresses. I only have two. So I have this one, which I just recently released a kit up of this, a kit and chat, where we prepared this canvas for me to start working on together. And then I have my the one with the diamond art Josephine wall, which I have not picked back up, and I really need to get back on that horse. But as you can see, I've only completed one row of this beautiful diamond painting. And, you know, I've just been having, I started it on the 19th and it's the 30th. So that's quite a few days, right? It's 11 days and I've only completed one row. So I'm not getting to diamond paint as much as I thought I would, but today I've done a little bit and I've been enjoying it. And I'm going to be honest with you, and it has nothing to do with the canvas because the canvas is absolutely stunning and a joy to work on. But you know, I guess maybe I'm in a little bit of a slump, or like I don't know. We'll talk about that as well. But my point is that I have two work in progresses, and one of them is super large. I started all the way back in April or sometime, and I haven't really worked on it since the Josephine Wall event. So I got to bust that back out and try, hopefully maybe get it done before the end of the year. I'd like to go into 2026 with no canvases started. But I digress. So I'm going to work on this and talk to you guys, and you can work on what you're working on or whatever it is that you're doing, driving to work, whatever it may be. While you listen to me, just go on about the things that I have nothing written down. This is all going to be off the cuff. So I hope it's good. I don't know, but I will go over my things. This is the putty. I just loaded it, just smashed my pen into this putty. This is called this is White Tea by Joy's Putty, and I almost solely use this. I did recently do a round diamond painting by Diamond Art Club, and this was not working for the rounds for some reason. I ended up having to use just their pink wax, but otherwise this is always what's in my multi-placer. I love to multi-place. I am not a single placer. So yeah, this is always what's in my multi-placer. I have glue dots in my single placer here. I use these metal tips, these cheapy metal tips from either AliExpress or Amazon. This pen is from Pen Turners. They are no longer making pens. It's not super shiny, but I love this pen. It's very neutral in colors and it matches a lot of different things. And so I pulled it out for this. And I really, honestly, I didn't know if I would like this thin end very much, but like I said, I don't multi-place very often. So I put my multi-placer on the thicker end, and I really love this pen. But isn't it pretty? I love this pen. So this is from Pen Turners. Like I said, I've promoted them on my channel quite a bit. Oh, I didn't realize there was like purple in that. Because they really had decent prices for pens, because pens can get a little ridiculous in price or just a little on the expensive side, in my opinion. But they always kept them between like $30, $25, $30, $35. So I had highly promoted them for you guys to, but they still ended up closing shop. So I got quite a few pens on sale, like for $15 and $10, craziness. And I really love this pen. So that's the pen I'm using on this. I'm using two Bella Art diamond trays here, Bella Art de Nicole. These are 3D printed trays. These are my favorite trays. They're called the Bella Essential Tray. And this one comes, the white, I get in their Bella Art diamond kits. And then this one I ordered because I wanted a dark tray to put light colors in. I haven't had to use it too much because there's not a whole lot of light colors in here, but you know, it comes in handy when it does. And then the way I diamond paint is I use a ceramic pen knife to cut along the bottom here. So I section off my spaces with washi tape. I really like the Scotch washi tapes. They really stay, they're thin, you know, you can get them in different colors. So I pulled that one out for this. And this is the square I sectioned off for now. So yeah, those are the things that I'm working with. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in. I do have a light pad here. Watch your eyes. I'm always saying that to my patients when I go in the room. I have to turn your light on. Watch your eyes. Close your eyes. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be on because I need I don't know how people diamond paint without one. I don't know. My eyes are not that good. It doesn't necessarily have to be this bright, maybe. Oh, yeah. So maybe like there. Did I change it at all? Because I went up and then I went down and I probably just took it right back to where it was. How about that? I don't know. I can't tell. It's not like a 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're on level 5. I don't know. All right, guys, I'm going to zoom in and we'll get to whipping and a talking. Hold on. Okay. I feel like I lowered it, but I can't tell. When I look in the camera, it still looks pretty bright. I apologize for that. Of course, I have my coffee here. I'm almost out. So I'll probably be making a cup before we finish this whip and chat. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope the world is treating you well. I hope 2025 has been good and kind to you. I'm going to set my start my timer. Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you I got a second job. I did not start it yet. I start tomorrow. And you know, if you're new to my channel, you don't know this, but if you're not new to my channel, then you know that I'm a nurse. I am a registered nurse, and I work in a local community hospital in their ICU. That is my full-time job, and I only work on the weekends. I'm supposed to work every Saturday and Sunday, minus 4 weekends of the year. I'm allowed to have off a weekend every 3 months. And so I work 24 hours a week, but I give up every weekend. So as an incentive for that, they give me a free 12 hours of pay. So for every Saturday I work, I earn an extra 6 hours in my pay. For every Sunday I work, I earn an extra 6 hours of pay. So I get paid for 36 hours like a full-time nurse gets paid, but I only work 24 hours. So I work part-time hours, you know, and the reason being is because normally we're very short on the weekends. So, you know, they only require the nurses to work 1 weekend shift every 3 weeks. So all the other shifts that they work are throughout the week, right? Monday through Friday. So normally we're very short on the weekends. And what they end up having to do is they have to put out incentives for nurses to work the weekends. So they have to put out a blast and offer an extra $17.50, $35 or something like that to cover the weekends. And they have to offer it to multiple nurses. So the idea is yes, we get an incentive. However, you know, we're guaranteed extra bodies on the weekend. So I only work 24 hours a week. So I was able to get what's called a per diem job. That might not be lingo that you're familiar with if you are not in healthcare. So what a per diem job means is as need basis. And all per diem jobs have different minimum requirements, you know, depending on what level of per diem you are. Now, normally a full-time nurse cannot get a per diem job in the same company because if you're working 36 hours in your full-time position, and then you pick up, you know, 8, 10, or 12 hours in a per diem position, you are going to hit overtime every time. And so, you know, these per diem positions are like, yeah, we're not paying you overtime to work 8, 10, 12 hours in this position. Fair. Because I technically only work part-time hours, even though I'm slotted as a full-time employee, I was able to secure a per diem job. Okay. Now, my requirement, so in order to keep this position, okay, is I'm promising them that I will work 2 10-hour shifts every 4 weeks. No, every four weeks. Yes, so 2 10-hour shifts every 4 weeks. I'm going to be working at a cardiac rehab, and it's so it's something I've never done before. And they are closed on the weekends. So that was one of the reasons why I was having a difficult time finding a per diem job, is because usually there is some kind of weekend requirement, like it might be 2 shifts every 6 weeks. One of them has to be a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that. So obviously I can't commit to that because I work every weekend at my full-time position. So it eliminated me from, you know, I just realized, I'm like, okay, I really need to do something outpatient that is closed, you know, on the weekends. So I found this cardiac rehab position. Funny enough, I know multiple nurses from critical care that work there. So my first day is tomorrow, and it's super early. Like, I have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm a night shift nurse. Okay, so completely different. Normally I'm waking up at 5 p.m. to go to work. So this position has me waking up at 5 a.m. I have to be there at 6:45. The fun thing is that tomorrow will be my first day, and I'm going to be working with the 3 nurses that I know from critical care. So I was pretty excited about that. So yeah, it's, and when I went to interview, it was so awesome. The atmosphere in there, I just was like in love, because it felt like a gym. You know, there's like all this exercise equipment, and the patients come in, post some kind of, well, if they're there for cardiac rehab. It's post a cardiac procedure and or event. If they're there for pulmonary rehab, then it's usually chronic COPDers that had some kind of COPD exacerbation. And so they're going there to just kind of work out and build some stamina, build up their lungs and stuff like that. But most of them are cardiac rehab patients. And because pulmonary rehab is limited on how many a COPDer can have. So there's not as many of those patients. I'm talking insurance-wise. But anyway, my point is like, it's post cardiac event or procedure where if a patient had something done, and it could be as scary as they had a heart attack and then they had to go to the cath lab and have a stent placed, or they had to have open heart surgery and have a cabbage done, or just a pacemaker. It could be anything cardiac related that they had to have done, and they go there after their event and or procedure, and they are monitored while they exercise. And we monitor their EKG. We put them on a monitor. We make sure that, you know, they don't have any ectopy or weird rhythm changes while they're doing activity, you know, and we just make sure that they're safe post-op, post-procedure, and things like that. So I was so excited because the atmosphere, like Bon Jovi was playing, the patients were like walking on a treadmill or riding the bike, you know, and if you don't know who I am, and you're new to my channel, I really love to exercise. So, well, not lately. That's been a problem. Like, I just have had zero motivation to go to the gym. That's a problem. Probably part of the reason why I'm like bleh all the time. But I need to get back into it. And so when I went in there, I was like, oh my God, this feels like a gym. It just felt, you know, it didn't feel like I was in any kind of hospital / healthcare setting. It really felt like it just, the vibe just felt, you know, so welcoming to me because I love, you know, those environments. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think I'm really going to love it. I already know I like a lot of the people that I'm going to be working with. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great time. And I'm going to learn something new. I was very excited about that because I've done a majority of my career in ICU and in critical care. All right, guys. So it's the next day. I couldn't finish the video. Shocker. Nobody's surprised by that, I'm sure. I have a new cup of coffee here. I use powdered collagen. I put it in my coffee. It's 20 grams of protein. Plus, I really believe that it does help my skin. I do 2 scoops every morning because I have 2 cups of coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee with the powdered collagen and some, like, usually sugar-free or fat-free creamer in it. And then I have one that's black with the powdered. So I get 40 grams of protein in the morning right off the bat. I love this collagen. It's like, honestly, the cheapest collagen per, I guess, when you do unit pricing, like per scoop or whatever. I think, well, it was when I had decided to buy it, which is why I bought it. But then it really is a great collagen. It really, the powder really dissolves in hot liquid very well, and I don't taste it at all, which is why I don't have to put creamer in it to make it taste better. I have it on a subscription, and yeah, I love it. It's called Guard. I'll put a picture of it here and I'll link it below. I know it's Garden something, but I'm not 100% sure of the entire name. So I'll, rather than confuse you guys, I'll just, you know, give you a link to it. If you're interested in anything like that. But I swear it helps my nails. Now, I do my own nails, and I think that is why they never break. I never have a problem with my nails ever. When I was getting them done at the salon, I think because of how rough they were with scraping the stuff off and then filing my actual nail, I was constantly getting breaks below the quick and things like that. My nails, I have to cut them every time I do them. Physically cut them and file them down. They grow, they'll grow and grow and grow. They're very thick. I think that the collagen has a lot to do with it, because I am very religious about taking 40 grams of it every morning. My hair, I feel like, is thicker and is growing faster. Like, I have to dye my hair every 2 weeks now. I cannot get away with a month anymore. In fact, I have to dye it today. My scalp is itching because I want to dye it while it's, I don't want to wash it and then dye it. So I've been putting it off and putting it off. I have to wash my hair today. So I have to, after this video, I have to go and dye my hair. And yeah, I think that it has a lot to do with the collagen. So I've been doing the collagen for months now. Well, for years, not religiously, but months now, very religiously. And I do feel like it's a huge difference in my skin and hair and nails. I know some people say that you don't absorb collagen that way, but I don't know why I see a difference then. So I'm going to keep using it because I feel pretty happy with the results. So anyway, I did look back to see what I was talking about, and I was talking to you guys about my second job now, and I actually worked my first shift yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. Now, it was a lot of fun because of the people I was with. They were 3 other nurses that I had worked with on my ICU team in the past. So we all knew each other, but I learned so much, so much. It's very fast paced. Yeah, it was you know, it was a very fun environment. The patients, you know, they're feeling better. They're not sick like the patients that we get, obviously, in the ICU. So they're, you know, they joke around. It is like, it's such a different environment, obviously. I mean, these patients are in recovery, and sometimes from a very traumatic event, you know, maybe a very scary event. You know, they might have had a cardiac bypass times 3, 4, like even up to 5 cardiac vessels. So, you know, they could have very sick hearts, but, you know, they're starting to feel better. They're in recovery. They're exercising. They're there on their own volition. So they physically showed up to their appointment, which means that they want to be there, right? So there's a lot of different factors, as opposed to the ICU. Nobody wants to be in the ICU. Yes, do you drive yourself there? Yes, of course you do, but you're sick. You have no choice, right? So there's a lot of different factors that make the environment more fun. These people are mostly independent. You know, if they have to give us a weight, they come in with their weight already, or they weigh themselves. Like in the hospital, we do everything for the patients. They sometimes bring their own glucometers if they have to give us a blood sugar, and they check their own blood sugars for us, or they do it at home and they write it down, whatever the case may be. You know, they're very independent, as opposed to patients in the hospital who are feeling very poorly, and, you know, they're requiring us to help them with their needs, you know. So it's just such a different environment. We don't give meds. You know, if they have to use the restroom, they just say, I'm going to go use the restroom, and we pause their monitor. You know, we don't have to ambulate anyone to the toilet or help them with toileting. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, because it did feel like a gym. People were moving from machine to machine. So I really enjoyed it. I would say that, so it was a 10-hour shift. I had to wake up at 5 in the morning as opposed to 5 in the evening, which is what I'm used to doing, right? I had to be there at 6:45, and I arrived at like 6:20 something. That felt different, of course. You know, I had a very poor sleep. 1, out of nerves, and 2, guys, we'll get into that. I did make a list today of the things that, if I can get to it, we'll talk about. Mugi's hitting the bell. You can hear her hitting the bell. Well, I'm going to update you guys on that too. But overall, it was a great first day. Oddly enough, it was very fast-paced, right? Very fast-paced, because the classes, they're run as classes, which is something I didn't realize with cardio and pulmonary rehab. So, you know, you're assigned to an hour-long class, kind of like an exercise class at the gym. And so we have to get these people in and out because we have the next class coming, you know, and we need to get the monitors, and we need to clean the monitors off and get them prepared for the next class to get them on. So, yeah, it was very fast-paced. You know, as the class is wrapping up, you're running around grabbing blood sugars, if they needed it, blood pressures for everyone, pulse oxes, then getting their monitors and cleaning them off and getting them prepared. And, you know, the patients, they arrive early a lot of times because, you know, they're just very responsible. I think the patients that show up for this are very responsible, eager to feel better, get better, do some life changes and improvements. So it was a lot of fun. So oddly enough, what I was going to say is it was fast-paced, and I don't know if this makes sense, but the day went by fast and the day went by slow. It didn't move. It didn't zip by the way I kind of pictured it would in a fast-paced environment. I kind of thought it would be like, I'd look up at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock already? And it wasn't like that at all. Like, I looked at the clock and it was, you know, we started at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I would look up at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's 9? And then I'd look up at the clock again, oh, it's 10? But that being said, you know, it wasn't, it's a different kind of hard on your body. I'm, you know, you're mostly standing the whole time. And yeah, it's just different. It's different. So, it was, I don't know. Sometimes your night goes by very quick in the hospital. Sometimes it drags depending on, you know, the acuity. But usually when it's a fast-paced night or you have, you know, a very sick patient, usually it just kind of blows by. Like, you look at the clock and you're like, oh, wow, it's 1 o'clock in the morning already? because you've been, you know, whatever you've been doing, lining patients, giving blood, this, that, running around like a crazy person. So that's where I felt like it was a little different, where I thought that the fast-paced environment would cause the time to go by faster. That being said, it was still, I really enjoyed it. I liked the different, just being in a different atmosphere, not being in a hospital setting, and the interaction with the patients. You know, we were joking around. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So it's definitely something that I'm glad that I was able to secure this job as like a supplement to my income, as opposed to trying to pick up more time in the hospital, you know. Because I could have easily have gotten a job at like my ICU right now is slow, but I could have easily have taken a job at a different ICU, easily. Not for a per diem job. A lot of the girls on the unit, that's exactly what they did. They went to a sister hospital that wasn't our union and took a per diem job. So I didn't want to do that. So yeah, that is how my job went. I am scheduled for at least 1 to 2 days a week for the next 4 weeks. So I'll be doing that during the week. And then I'm sure you're wondering, well, if you're so overloaded with school, how are you now taking on a new position as a nurse? Good question. The one class, ethics, is finally over. I'm so glad I don't have to open up that ethics tab ever again. The instructor was really nice and stuff, but that class was just like so draining. I was like slowly dying in that class. I'm so glad it's over. I'm very happy that that's over. So one of the disappointing things about that class was I did end up with a 92.75. And I looked it up. In order to end with a 4.0, I would need a 93 in every class and above. So I missed the mark by 0.25. So 2 things about that. One, I was really disappointed. I was like, oh, great, now I can't get a 4.0. And I was really hoping to get a 4.0. And 2, now it's like, okay, well, now I just might as well just shoot for A's rather than, you know. So it's kind of like it put less stress on me, but, you know, I didn't really hit my goal. So everyone's like, what do you care about that for? I'm like, I don't know. I never got a 4.0 before, and I was kind of hoping to do it in college for my bachelor's. Like, I thought that would be really cool. But yeah, I mean, I will say I did not study for the exam, and that's where I lost most of my points, because I had like a 96 going into the exam, and I only got a 76 on the exam because I like reviewed all the quizzes. I honestly, you know, they don't, the lectures, like they're not, the exam questions aren't based on the lectures. They actually expect you to read every single piece of, even nursing school didn't expect you to do that, you know. They did the lectures, they pointed out the important things, like, it just, like, I don't know, how do you expect someone to read, like, 4 chapters in a week? I can't even do that leisurely. You know, I mean, what's the point of having lectures and all this and that? Or at least in the lectures, say, you know, make sure you review this theory in chapter blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm being lazy, but, like, it's unrealistic, honestly, to expect people to, even if I read everything, I obviously am not retaining all of that information, like, and then you ask all these random questions that weren't part of the lecture, weren't part of previous quizzes, like little stupid questions. Even if I read it, I wouldn't have remembered that. I wouldn't remember where in the book to find it. Like, it's very, I mean, unless I sat there and outlined every chapter, like, word for word. But then, even then, it's like you wouldn't necessarily know where in the notes. Mugi's laying in Bob's chair, and he's like, "Oh, you waiting for me?" Yeah, I kind of closed the door on her here, because she'll just keep coming up and putting her head on my knee, wanting me to stop what I'm doing and pay attention to her. So I gave her a stick and I closed the door. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know how I could have, even if I read the stuff, there's no way I would have known the answers to that. Like, unless I was like, oh, I do remember reading that little tidbit, that insignificant little tidbit. Oh yeah, I remember reading that, and yeah, I know they're asking it backwards, but I can figure it out right now. No, on inspiration, blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, no. Like they'll ask you all these, like, questions backwards, like, if it teaches you, you know, Cantonism is blah, 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 then they'll ask you, you know, which one of these shows is not a priority of Cantonism, and then they'll ask it backwards. I'm just like, why are you trying to trick us so bad? Like, this isn't that serious. Okay, and guess what? If it was that serious, you know what? Patient isn't going to have stuff backwards to try to trick us when we're trying to diagnose them. Like, are you serious right now? This is so stupid. It's like, this isn't an IQ test. This is a freaking ethics test. It's weird. It's just weird. It's definitely not how I would do it if I was an instructor. I would lecture you on what was important, point out things that you need to pay attention to in your reading, and test you on those things. Yeah. Make sure that that's what you studied and understood. And that's because that's what I wanted you to take away from my course. Not try to trick you. Anyway. So that's over. I'm still in the other class, but now that I only have one, it's so much more manageable. I'm not feeling anywhere near as stressed. And I just have the hang of, you know, doing all of the things. So I feel like if I keep feeling like this, I could definitely do my master's. It's just a matter of, do I figure out a passion enough to want to invest the time and money? Because if I went for my master's program, I would have to pay for it. So it would have to be all that. I was talking to someone who is an NP, and we were talking about, like, wage differences and stuff. And she even agreed. She was like, yeah, you know, given the amount of time, like year one, I might make even less money than a bedside nurse, because I've been a bedside nurse for so long, you know. Nurse practitioners are never unionized. So they could certainly just offer you money based on their need, you know, and if there isn't a high need, they could just lowball you. Oh, my mom's here. Oh, no. Bob just called his mom. I thought my mom just showed up. He's been trying to get a hold of her for a minute now. So good. He just talks so loud when he's on the phone. You would think everyone was deaf. Anyway, so, yeah, that's where I'm at with school. So school has loosened the noose a little bit on me. I feel much more comfortable with my workload. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some more diamond painting done, like leisurely activities done. The first week that my ethics class was over was last week, but that week was so busy because I had a camping trip. And yeah, I'll post some video and pictures here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed those photos. So I, and that video, so that's one of our, so that's my old ICU crew that I used to work with at my very first nursing job ever. And I still keep in touch with them. And we used to go camping every year. This time it was different. We used to, like, none of us drink. We used to all drink a lot, too much. And so we were like, yeah, you can tell we're getting old. Instead of in the morning cracking open another beer, we're all like, does anybody have Tums or Pepsid? I'm like, I have Protonics. Oh, yeah, the way times have changed. But one of our friends was recently diagnosed with cancer. I don't like to really talk about other people's things, but he said, we were like, you know, what can we do? Blah, blah, blah. We haven't done this in years. And he said, let's go camping. So yeah, that's what we did. We organized this trip and it was so much fun. I mean, I really missed these people. We used to do it twice a year, so now we're talking about, you know, organizing tent cabins in May. So yeah, it was really good. Like, we got rid of all of our camping stuff. It's been that long. I mean, years, like before COVID, I think. And Bob and I got rid of our tent, everything. So we had to borrow a tent. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so we did sleep in tents, and it was cold. And, but I was fine. So this is what I was saying earlier. I have been having, like, major hot flashes. So in the morning I woke up and one of the guys was like, I was so cold last night. I was like, you know what you need? You need a good dose of menopause. Everyone started laughing. I'm like, because that would clear that up right away. Yeah, so I was not cold. And whenever I would start to get a hot flash, I would just, you know, uncover myself and immediately cool down. So that's the nice thing about it. I guess it's a good and bad thing. When I start to overheat, I wake up. So I don't wake up in like a pool of sweat. My mom would tell me she would have to change her sheets. That's how bad she would sweat. She would have to change her sheets and take a shower, change her pajamas and everything. That luckily is not what's happening with me. With me, I start to wake up as soon as I start to overheat, and I will uncover. I will take the blankets off of me, and it would start to cool me down. And I also have a fan in my room, so if it's really bad, I will literally point the fan right on top of me in bed, and I will fall asleep with the fan blowing on me, and that will stop the hot flash. But I can definitely see how, and it's funny because I sleep through everything, but I don't sleep through these. I immediately start waking up. As soon as I start to overheat, I wake up, and I can address it right away. So like we have this small heated blanket on Bob's side of the bed, and he loves it. I can't. I can't sleep with it on because it immediately triggers that response. But it happens multiple times a night, so I'm constantly waking up and having to, uncover my body and cool down, and then I fall asleep, and then I wake up again freezing, then I cover my body, then I fall asleep, and then I wake up again. So it's like 4 times a night I'm like covering, uncovering, covering, uncovering, covering, uncovering. So my sleep has been meh. And the night before my first day at my new job, obviously there were some nerves involved, so I kept waking up for that. And then on top of that, the temperature problems. So I was like waking up for 2 reasons. So every 30 minutes to 60 minutes, I was waking up. Like I would look at the clock, I'm like 3:27, look at the clock again, 4 o'clock, look at the clock again, 4:33, look at the clock again. Like it was like constantly I was waking up from one issue or another. But and then last night it wasn't nerves, it was nightmares. I kept having nightmares. So I wake up from the nightmare, wake up from the hot flashes. Very bizarre. But anyway, so I've been dealing with that, even though my cycle has been still on track, still getting my period monthly. Like nothing has changed with that. I do think that I get like PMS symptoms more than once a month though. Like I'll get really tired, I'll get one pimple on my face, and I'll be like crotchety, and I'm like, am I supposed to be getting my period? And then I look and it's like, no, it's 2 weeks away. And then it happens again in 2 weeks. I'm like, great. My body is twice the amount of a psycho. Love that for me. So yeah, I'm dealing with that. Otherwise, wonderful. Things are wonderful. I'm just kidding. So nothing really new on the diamond painting front. I do have an unboxing that's going to be coming out from a new to me company. I'm going to be releasing that soon. I just don't, you know me, I don't do a lot of unboxings. I usually, unless it's a promotional item, I only do unboxings when I work on a painting. So I don't like to do unboxing after unboxing. And I wanted to update you guys on what's going on in my world. But yeah, I am looking forward to diamond painting more. As you can see, I haven't been able to do a whole lot since I'm not very far on this canvas yet. And I was looking at the canvas. It is a lot of background. So it should go by pretty fast, I feel like, once I get rid of them. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is, I'm always late to these things, but has anybody watched The Summer I Turned Pretty? Oh my God. I was so obsessed with that show, like obsessed with that show. I had to see what would happen next. And that I would come home from work and I would watch like 2 or 3 episodes, and they're like an hour long. And Bobby would be like, Kim, you have to go back to work. You got to turn it off. And I'm like, I couldn't. He'd have to take the remote and hide it from me so that I would go to sleep, because he's like, you are going to be dead to the world. But I was just so invested. Like, I have to know what happens next. So I watched all 3 seasons. It's on Amazon Prime. If you've never seen it, it's like, it's like a love triangle, a teeny thing. So and the girl is half Korean in the show. I'm half Korean. I just adored that show. And then I saw like an Instagram of the cast reading from one of the books. So now I have to read the books, because there's definitely a lot more, you know, than just what's happening in the show in the books, of like their emotions, what they're thinking, what's going on in the character's head as the scenes are playing out. So I'm really looking forward to getting the books, like the box set of that, and reading the whole series. So the author, Jenny Han, is planning on releasing a movie to like wrap it all up. I don't know when, I don't know if, I should Google that, if it's like available yet, or I know I'm pretty sure it's not available. I think I would know if it was available, but I don't know if it's been recorded, being recorded, done production, if there's a release date. Like, I don't know anything like that. So I'm going to look that up, because I can't wait to see that. I really need to know how it all wraps up. I don't know if it's part of the book or not, or if she's adding this, like going to release this as a book too, and wrap up the whole show. I don't know. Very curious about all of that. But yeah, highly recommend that if you like teeny bopper stuff. My friend was really invested in it, like I told her about it, but there are some weird factors to it, and she couldn't get past that. But I didn't really care about that. I was just like really invested in the characters and wanted to know what was going to happen. So I got past the weirdness of some of the plot. And I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin it. But yeah. If you want to put it in the comments, your thoughts, if you watched it, if you want to say what team you're on, please feel free. I will respond to the comments. I'm caught up on my comments. I've been keeping up on my comments. So yeah, I will definitely respond to that if you put that in there. And then also, I have been reading the Covenant series by, I don't know who the author is, to be honest with you, but the first book is called Half-Blood. The second book is Pure. And the third book, which is what I'm on, is Deity. And I am reading these. So it's been slow. The first two books I read pretty quickly. I definitely... I started the first book in the summertime because I started it on the beach. Like, it was the only day that I went to the beach for, like, actually, like, in a bathing suit, and not took my dog, went to the beach with my girlfriend. It was in August because it was for her birthday. My daughter and I went to the beach with her, and we took her out to dinner on the bay. And on the way down, we stopped at Target, and I just randomly picked a book, and it's a young adult, like, it's kind of like The Court of Thorns and Roses. It's fantasy like that. But I really enjoy this series for a number of reasons. But I don't want to, like, ruin or reveal much. But I'm just going to say that the main female character of this series, I don't find her sufferable. Like, am I saying that right? Like, her character am I using it backwards? Her character is not annoying. Where I find a lot of the female teenage characters very annoying, because they portray them as such adults, but then they make them seem like adults, and then they have them act like teenagers. I don't like that. Like, I like when a character is portrayed like a teenager and then acts like a teenager, because then their actions are like, well, of course, she's 17. Like, I don't expect that. But when they try to make them, like, act like adults, and then they throw in a hissy fit here and there, it's like, you've been looking at this person, like, through an adult lens for, like, chapters. Like, they're doing all these adult things and making all these adult decisions, and they seem like they have a good head on their shoulders, and then all of a sudden they make them have a hissy fit and act like, and they want you to remember that they're only 17. And I'm like, no, that's, I mean, like, you want them to, like, you know, rule a whole kingdom and act like a ruler of a kingdom or whatever, make all these decisions, and now you want them to make these poor choices that a teenager would make, and you want me to feel sorry for them because they're only 17. No, I can't. Like, why are they trying to act grown in the first place? She's not like this. She's very well, her character development was very much in a teenage view eyes, and so when she does teenager things, it's like, yeah, I mean, she's a teenager. So, like, I don't find her character super annoying. I find her character endearing, and yeah, so that's what I like about this book. So anyway, I am on the third book, just have been for a long time. once again, just time issues, you know. I read it when I can, if I'm waiting in the car for something or anything like that. I read a little bit when we were camping. People went on a hike that I didn't want to go on. I went on 1 out of 2, but one of them I didn't feel like going on, so I sat by the fire and I just read my book, and until the sun went down, and I was loving it. It was, you know, so peaceful, and yeah, I got some, you know, me time. So sometimes I take Mugi out back because she has to be doing something. Like, Mugi can't just be awake. If she's awake, she wants someone entertaining her. So sometimes I'll take her out on my patio back there and put a blanket over my legs, and I'll read, and she'll watch the birds and the squirrels. So last night when I was on my way home, I ran over a squirrel and I was like crying. I was so upset. Honestly, all the years that I've been driving, I think that I know of, that's only the second squirrel. I mean, that thing darted out of nowhere on a curve. Like, we were in the middle of turning a corner. Yeah, I was pretty upset. You definitely can't swerve when you're on a curve. You know, you can't see the oncoming traffic coming around the bend. Like, I don't know. I was upset. Anyway, that was not on my list of things to tell you guys. I was just thinking about it because Mugi goes outside and she watches them. So I am officially 100% done with dog parks. I haven't attempted to take her to one in a long time. Well, since I talked to you last. And because I took her over there, there was no one. I was hoping no one would be there because of her growling thing. But she's definitely becoming like more dog selective. Because somebody came in and he had a golden, or no. I went in there, someone had a male Labrador, and he was just very, very hyper. And the owner was like, yeah, he doesn't understand personal space. He's super hyper. He's a puppy. And he was jumping on her, and I think she took that as like he was challenging her, so she just was like, "Rawr!" And yeah, I just grabbed her and I was like, we're leaving. So like, where before she used to just lay down and cry if she felt challenged, now if she perceives a dog challenging her, she just is like 0 to 100 in a second. Like, she doesn't bite them, but she sounds like she's gonna like murder them and tear them to pieces. It's scary for me and the other dog owner, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna take her if that's how she behaves. It's not fair to the dog owners, you know, to anyone. And I feel bad. Like, I don't think she thinks she's doing anything wrong. She feels like she's just standing her ground. Like as soon as I put the leash on her and we walked out, she didn't, like, my friend was like, how did she act? Like, did she seem sad? And I was like, no. She was looking at me like, do you believe that kid? I put her in the truck and she's like, yeah, we're out of here. Like, she was justified. I don't know. Bob's like, why are you always trying to figure out what she's thinking? She doesn't. I'm like, I don't know, Bob. Like, she definitely didn't act like she thought she was wrong. So, but I remember watching this guy, this trainer, and he's like, yeah, I get calls all the time. They're like, oh, my Cane Corso, he was so sweet, and this and that, and now he's 18 months, and he growls at everyone. He hates everyone. He's like, oh, you mean you're surprised that your Cane Corso grew up to be a Cane Corso? Shocker. So, like, I keep that in mind. Like, I remember going to the dog park and someone saying, when they saw her, they're like, oh, remember that Rottweiler that was here all the time? Whatever happened to him? And the other person's like, yeah, she had to stop bringing him because he got too aggressive. Always kept that in the back of my head. You know, I thought that if I kept socializing her, she would just love dogs forever. But I guess she's just becoming a Rottweiler. She's becoming dog selective. Like, she loves her friends still. You know, all of the dogs that she's been socializing with. But, like, even when she sees dogs walking by her house, she used to never growl at them. She would just cry because she, like, wanted to play. Now, she's scaring the crap out of all the neighbors because she jumps in the window, like, whoa! And, like, they jump back and we jump. You know, anytime she hears a leash, unless she knows the dog. Like, if it's the Doberman, she doesn't do that. But if it's a dog she doesn't know, she's like, whoa! So now I'm scared to introduce her to any other dogs, because even, like, before, I used to, you know, she would hang her head out the window, and just in my neighborhood. I don't let her do that on the highway. And before, we used to walk by dogs on the leash. She'd just look at them. Now, I'm like, okay, so not everyone's a friend anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, everyone, my friends are like, I think it's because she was bullied when she was younger, and now she knows she's bigger, and she's like, you know, not anytime she feels threatened. I'm like, that could be it, because she was bullied a lot. Or it could just be her breed. Like, whenever I would, I don't know, like, where she's now, like, not going to take any crap. So, yeah, completely done with dog parks. Just don't trust her. And I remember I went into a dog park. I don't know if I told you guys this story. We, like, literally, I think I did, because I said I should have maybe stayed behind. But I just didn't want Mugi to get wrapped up. If I was alone, I would have stayed behind and, like, been a witness, like, gave her my number. But, like, I just wanted Mugi away from those dogs, because they already attacked one dog. I was, like, not going to get involved in whatever. Like, I just was like, come on, just keep it moving. Get away from these dogs. But, like, this doodle just literally ran up to this dog and just bit him. Like, literally no idea that that was happening. Just ran up and bit the side of the dog. And I heard the owner, as I was, like, getting further away, she's like, yeah, she's bleeding. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want Mugi to be that dog. And then we took her camping, but my friends had their kids there, and she's like, she would not stop focusing on them. And, like, Bob and I aren't sure if it was a good focus or a bad focus. We weren't letting her go to figure it out. Like, she just watched them everywhere they went, and then when they got close to her, she jumped. And so I was like, yeah, she was going to stay with us. We did the camping 2 nights in a row, and honestly, the kids were afraid of her. Don't blame them. And I just wanted them to enjoy themselves and enjoy their time with their dad. So I put her in daycare the next day. Bob got up early and ran her over at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then my daughter picked her up and spent the night with her the second night. And I said to Bob, I was like, I've been waiting for someone to see how, like, obsessed with kids she is. Like, it's weird. And he finally was like, yeah, it's weird. He's like, and I don't know if it's a good weird or a bad weird, like, because at one point, I mean, the kid, that's another thing, like, kids, they don't know how to read dogs' language, like, body language. And so the one kid was coming up and saying, I want to pet you, but I'm scared of you, and like staring at her, and Mugi's staring at her, and like they're just staring at each other, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. Like, you're not supposed to stare at a dog. Like, it's okay. Yeah, I don't want you to pet her either. And then like Mugi would jump up, like, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, like this is too stressful. I don't trust her around kids. I never did because of how big she is. It just was very uncomfortable. That first day, I do have a video of her swimming in the lake. We took her down. But here's the thing, like, we would throw the stick in the water, she would jump in the water, swim out to get the stick, bring it back, and then she would try to go back up to the camp. And then we'd have to throw it again, and she would come back up onto land with the stick and then try to run past us to go back to the camp. So, like, even her swimming, she was more fixated on the kids. But she was great with like, my friend's dog did not like one of our male friends. She just would not, for some reason, she just never became okay with him. And I was like, she's like, here, do you want to try to feed her? He's like, no, she tried to attack me 4 times. I'm good. But she was great with the kids. Great. But she's still a puppy, you know. Her whole personality is coming together. I don't know what it's going to be. She is, you know how I used to say, she's not very attached to me? Well, she's very attached to me now. Like, did I make a mistake? Because I am always feeling guilty. Like, I feel guilty right now not taking her out to run because I want to relax and do this, you know. And for that reason, like, I never go to the gym because I'm like, I feel bad leaving and her watching me leave and not take her with me. Isn't that crazy? My friend's like, you gotta just stop building your whole, like, I build my whole life around her every day. It's like, it's insane. It's not right. It's not normal. I know this. I think this is a me thing. Like, I've talked about this before. Like, I never feel like I do enough for anyone. For anyone. Like, I'm always like, oh, I should be able to do more. I should be able to do more. And so I always feel guilty, and I felt that way as a mom my whole time as, you know, a mom with young kids. Like, always felt like I should be doing more. I should be giving more. And I don't know how to not feel that way. If someone gives me a gift, then I want to give them a gift. And I'm trying my best to stop that. Like, I've been doing better, but, like, so I gave someone a gift that gave me a gift, and they're like, why did you do that? I gave you the gift because I wanted to, and not because I thought it would get me a gift back. And I was like, you know, that's true. I guess I do make people feel that way. Like, I make them feel like, you know, that I think they expect a gift back. It's not that. It's that I don't know. It's, does anybody else suffer from this? This disease of always feeling like you don't do enough, you know? I don't know. But I have it with my dog now because she's like my child. So Bob's always like, go to the gym. I'm like, but look at, she's looking at me like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, geez, I am sick. So, like, I think I'm very abnormal. And, like, when I talk about being a mom to, like, the younger generation, they're probably just like, what are you talking about? Because I'm like, oh, motherhood is filled with so much guilt. But I think it's just my personal issues that cause me to feel that way all the time. Like, I could be doing more. I should be doing more. You know, like I used to, I've gotten over this too, but I used to feel bad that my kids had to work to make money. Like, why? I had to work my whole life. Like, but I guess it's like that whole, it's put in your head like you want to give a better life to your kids than you had. And so I'm like, did I do that? If they have to work? Yeah, but you know, you want them to work. You want them to feel productive. You want them to have a goal and a purpose. Like, all of that is good. You know, it's when they don't have those things, it's when things, you know, can be destructive for their lives. And so, you know, when you see your kid has a good work ethic, you should be proud of that and happy that they have that structure and that they, you know, are working towards something good and great, their life, you know. I don't know why. Like, when my son first started working, I'm like, I felt like, it's so weird. It's almost like, I guess because you think about how people are able to, you know, the more well off you are, the more you give your kid. I need to think more like Shaq, you know? Shaq, didn't he say, like, I made this money, not you, you have to make your own money? Like, of course, I'm sure he helps his kids, but, like, he expects them to work for their money. How did I even get on this? This is not part of my list, on my Whip and Chat list. My feelings of inadequacy. On top of all of the stuff that I'm doing, school, a second job, trying to read this series, and obviously diamond paint and keep up with the channel, and, you know, give you guys something more than once a month. It's just terrible. On our camping trip, my friend was knitting, and she is a fabulous knitter. And every one of her family members, there was 5 of them, no, I'm sorry, 4 of them, they all had a hat on that she knitted. And they were gorgeous. And I'm like, I want to knit a hat now. And I don't know about you, but when I get an idea in my head, I fixate on it until I do it or get it. So, like, I have been, like, fixating on getting knitting supplies, and to the point where on on my way home from my other job, I stopped at Walmart. I was like, oh, they sell yarn, they sell knitting stuff. And I didn't even buy the right size needles, and I tried starting this project last night, and yeah, it's not coming out right because I didn't get the right stuff. But I'm so like impatient, and yeah, I want to start knitting on top of all of the other things. I don't know what's wrong with me. If I do end up knitting a hat, I will certainly show you guys. Ta-da! Oh, look how beautiful. Look at how perfect these squares fit. So this is the new grid from Diamond Art Club. This is the first time I'm working on a new grid from them, and I have to say, love it. Super highly impressed, which I guess nobody's surprised. But look at those vibrant leaves and the colors. I'm just going to pull this up. Look at these squares. I mean, honestly, this is how Orloa squares have been. And that's why I was like, I know that it can be better. And now it's better. This is exactly how Orloa's work out for me. And I love it. So I'm going to be so happy with all my new Diamond Art Clubs. And I have a lot of them. So I'm excited about that. And every once in a while you see one that you multi-place that you got to push in. It's not popping. These do not pop. It's a little like wavy, but I think it's because of the cover minder below. Like once, like it's like woo woo. I don't know if you can see that. No, you probably can't. But I think it's just the it's not the tightness of the grid. I think it's that it's like wavy down here. So once I get all the cover minder off, it's going to be flat. But it's like bump. It's like woo 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 across. I've never had that before. And I think it's because of the cover sheet. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as I think so, because I think it's calmed down here. Like here, it's not as because this is uncovered now. And here it's pretty bumpy. So we'll see when I do this. Yeah, what do you guys think? Moving along. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up on the way out. If you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family and friends here at Kimbaskrafts. I would love to have you. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care. Keep diamond painting.